fundraisers. I'm Dawn Lego. It's time to buckle up once again for a new episode of Raise Nation Radio, the one and only podcast made to inspire fundraisers like you to continue making impacts in our community, building tomorrows and exchanging ideas. So whether you're a trailblazer or a seasoned pro, you'll pick up the trends that transform your fundraising. And together we'll dive into lively conversations and chat with industry-leading fundraisers and thought leaders to explore hot button issues and innovative ideas. So stay with us for the next 30 minutes while we inspire you to embrace the future of fundraising. Gosh, I'm having a hard time with my words today, but hello, everyone. It's Dawn Lego. Welcome back. If you've been with us before, thank you for being a fan. If you're first time here, you can find us anywhere. We stream on 10 podcast channels, all the favorites. We're on demand at onecause.com. So wherever you are, whenever you are, feel like tuning in, you can find us. And hopefully today we inspire you too to be a fan. I'm really excited to get going. I think I stumbled on this really great product for fundraisers that I know you're all going to want to get your hands on as soon as possible. I have to admit that I've been using the product. It's super cool. And here to tell us all about it is the co-founder and CEO, Hannah Young of TheShareWay. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before, but Raise Nation, you're going to want to stay tuned to hear about it now. Hannah, welcome to Raise Nation Radio. It's so great to have you here.
Hi, Dawn. It's so great to be here to share the share with everyone today.
Oh, I can't wait because we're going to take a deep dive and maybe I'm going to find out some things I don't know yet and get back and using the product because it's just so super cool, super fun. But before we get there, I would love for our audience to get to know you a little bit better. Do you mind just giving the introduction before, after the title and the company and just your name and share whatever you'd like about yourself personally?
Yeah, absolutely. So as everyone knows, I'm Hannah. I am the co-founder and CEO of TheShareWay. I live in New York City, specifically in Brooklyn. And maybe a quick overview of what TheShareWay is it's a directory of companies that donate food and auction items to nonprofits and schools. And maybe I'll tell you a little bit about why I started this.
Yeah, please. Because it's super cool. I mean, I just love the name itself, TheShareWay. That automatically intrigues me. What are we sharing? And I do want to underscore what you just said. You actually aggregate all of the companies that donate products and food items into one database. So it's a one-stop shop for fundraisers to find what they need and power their auctions, right? That's what we're talking about here.
Yep, absolutely. And I know one of the biggest pain points for people planning auctions is physically finding the auction items. Yeah. It takes a lot of time and effort.
Yeah, you heard the pain as you said it. I'm like, But yeah, tell us the story. How'd you get here? How did you come to put this all together? I want to hear the backstory. It's so intriguing for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So in high school, I was running a humanitarian club and we were planning an event. And I remember as one of the club officers, I was going door to door to Chipotle's, Mimi's Cafe, asking them if they could donate burritos or gift cards to our event to help us reduce event costs and also to help us come up with prizes that we can raffle off to attendees. And I just remember this being super painful because I would go to every store in my town center and the general manager would say, oh, the come back in 3 hours. I'm really busy right now. Or a waiter will say, oh, the general manager is not here. Call us tomorrow. And it's just a lot of back and forth and always missing each other. And then half the time they don't donate, right? So I've wasted my time going in person to that store. Fast forward a couple of years. I was living in the Bay Area, which is a center of tech and entrepreneurship. And I was surrounded by friends working in tech and building their own companies. And I had signed up for a hackathon with a friend. And a hackathon is essentially a weekend competition where you get a team together and you guys build something within 48 hours and you launch it. And my team was looking for an idea. And I just told them in passing about this terrible experience and how I wished at the time I had a website where I could put in, I'm in LA, I'm looking for food donations, and my event is on June 17th. and it'll tell me a list of companies to contact and how to contact them. And everyone was like, "Oh, that sounds like a fantastic idea. We should do it." So
it is a fantastic idea. Why didn't I think of that? Oh my gosh, keep going with the story. This is just so funny.
Yeah, and so we decided to do this idea, went to the hackathon, we built a website, and we presented at the end of the weekend, and we ended up becoming one of the top 5 teams out of like hundreds of teams.
Yeah.
And we were so shocked that so many other people had this problem, and little did I know that it was such a huge problem, you know?
I got to stop you right there. It is a huge problem, Hannah. I mean, as you're describing what you experienced as a high school student is so what our community, I bet our Raise Nation audience is listening right now, and they're feeling that pain. They know what it's like to go, in and out of Applebee's and Chipotle and just all of these different restaurants and retail establishments and Wawa and Home Depot. And no disrespect to any of them, but that is the chase. We'll come back later. My manager, 3 hours. I'm busy. What was your name? I'm on vacation today. And then the yield tends to be not very much. And it's not that those companies don't donate. It's just the rat race of what it is to get there. And what a brilliant idea. I think it was meant to be. But how did you put that together? How did you remember from a high school student to the hackathon days? Like, how did that all come together?
I think I must have been just brainstorming, because my team needed an idea, and I was just like thinking about painful experiences and what I wish existed. And like this somehow just came up. I guess It is meant to be because it was several years ago. It wasn't like it happened like a year ago. But I'm glad it bubbled into my head, and that now this exists for nonprofits and schools all across the U.S.
Well, we're glad too. And I want to get into the nitty gritty. Let's fast forward. So you win, you get the top 5 in this hackathon. And how did it become TheShareWay?
Yeah. So afterwards, I talked to my team, and I was like, seems like there's something here. Should we keep working on it? And we all agree, okay, let's keep on working on it and try it out. So afterwards, we kept on working on it. Initially, we try to get the donors on to become users so that they're intaking donation requests via our platform. So I remember the first week on this, I biked all across San Francisco, just going to different stores like, hey, I have this great thing. Would you like to sign up? A lot of people said no. But my first commit was actually from Phil's Coffee, which is one of the best coffee brands in the Bay Area.
Thank you, Phil's Coffee. Thank you very much. Let's shout them out. Okay.
Yeah. And because they sign up, I was able to get more donors to sign on afterwards. And we just kept on working on it. But several iterations later, we actually pivoted the product instead of physically having companies be a user on our site, which takes a long time to sign up. We decided to aggregate data and focus on that instead, so that our users can have 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 donors versus the 100 who signed up to use our platform. So that was the very first iteration of it, where it was a marketplace. We tried to get the donor and the nonprofits both on our site, and we shifted to just focusing on the nonprofits and aggregating data on the donor side.
Got it. Okay. So fast forward, here we are now with TheShareWay. Let's take our audience, the nonprofits, through what this user experience would be like. So first of all, where do we find it, right? How do we access this database? It's a web address, right?
Yeah. So it's theshareway.com.
Okay, great.
Or you could Google TheShareWay, and we should be the first link up there. And once you access it, you sign up for an account. And the first thing we ask you to do is to create an event. So you will put in your city, your event date, and the product type that you're looking for. And from there, we generate a list of companies that donate in your city, and that's still within your time frame. So a lot of donors might ask that you have to apply 90 days in advance. So if your event is 2 months out, we filter those out for you, so that you're
great.
focused.
So you're not wasting your time. It's not like knocking on the door. Right. Got it. You take all that out. Fantastic. Okay. Keep going.
Yes. So you create an event and we show you a list of donors based on your criteria. And then there are a set of really cool filters that you could use to further drill down to find the donors that are the most relevant for you. So for example, we have a cause filter. So you could specify that my nonprofit is related to women. And we'll show you a list of donors who have specified that, hey, they really prefer to donate to female empowerment causes. So you could further find more relevant donors. Another one is like if you're a school, there are a lot of donors that, especially alcohol companies that don't donate to schools or children related nonprofits because it's alcohol. So you could specify that, hey, only show me companies that donate to schools. And we have pickup and shipping. I know some people are very busy. They can't physically go pick up the product because they have a ton of other jobs. So you could filter for like, hey, I want companies that can ship their product to me. And another really cool one is application method. A lot of our users are volunteers, so they have another full-time job. They cannot go in person to request a donation. So they can now, with the ShareWay, filter for ones where they can apply via an online form or send an email.
Oh, wow. You thought of everything. You really did.
I mean, I think the key from talking to our users is just help us save time as much as you can, make it easy, because for very few people, this is their full-time job. They usually have something else going on, and this is something they're trying to fit in between two jobs, in between juggling family and work and like community involvement. So we try to make it as easy as we can for people using it.
Sure. But I also love how you've empowered all the different resources that a nonprofit might have. A volunteer can now be productive. If there's a volunteer on a committee and they can't go door to door or they're limited in any way, well, they can just go into the ShareWay account. They can filter for, well, what can I do online? Spend an hour, or two and really help that nonprofit. And they probably want to help that nonprofit, but perhaps driving door to door is just not in it for them. So they are not as engaged, but now they can be. You can really work the way you want to work and help contribute to that nonprofit. I mean, you really did think of everything, and you're hitting the pain points because I'm sure people are running to the ShareWay. Now, is there, it's an aggregate, right? So what was the jewelry line because I was in there. Most of our audience knows my daughter runs a small nonprofit, and that's my side hustle, helping her. So you were gracious enough to let us, into the site, and we've played around plenty. It is fabulous. To our listeners, I can't even tell you just how wonderful it is. Let me actually digress and share what we used to do. Absolutely. So there's 4 of us, right? Me and my daughter, and then her co-founder and our good friend, her mom. We literally would sit like in my office and just painstakingly try to brainstorm different companies. Then we would make a list. Then one of us would write a letter, but we would need different versions of the letter depending on what we were asking. Then we would search endless hours for an email address or a contact. Then we would divide and conquer and say, okay, you take 4, you take 4, you take 4, you take 4. Then we would go to our emails and we would request them, or we would spend a Saturday driving around. And at the end of all of this, Hannah, we had pretty much nothing. And it was so much effort. So thank you. Thank you for what you're doing, because this is a game changer for sure. I'm sure that the audience is listening and they're chuckling at the same time, because that is a legitimate story. But I've been in the ShareWay. There's that one company that does jewelry. Who am I thinking of?
Kendra Scott.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, what a beautiful human being and beautiful jewelry. So she's in your site. So that's the quality of the donors, right? We're talking stuff you want, like Kendra Scott jewelry. But I think that how does it work? Like if I get a certain donation, then I pay ShareWay like how does the ShareWay fit into this? Or am I subscribing to the account? Or can you take the nonprofit through that?
Yes, absolutely. So how it works is we have free and paid tiers. So for the free tier, so the directories searching through the donor list, that's unlimited for free or pay users.
Okay.
But then once you want to view the donors' contact info or like access their application links, those are paywalled. So as a free user, you get 10 detailed donor views a month, and it refreshes every month. So you can still come back and use it the next month once you max out. And the reason we did this is we know a lot of nonprofits have very small budget, and we want to make this as accessible to as many nonprofits as possible while still earning enough revenue for us to
continue your development,
like scale and building this for the nonprofit community. And then in terms of the paid tiers, you could pay to get unlimited access to all the donor pages. We don't pay a percentage to any of the companies in our directory. We don't have a relationship with them. This is an aggregation of all the donors that are out there. And the list is continuously growing. I mean, no one's built this database yet, and we're the first one to build it from scratch. So every week we add 10 new donors every month to the database. And I think we're still barely scratching the surface. There's so many donors out there.
Wow. So how many donors are currently in the ShareWay?
Right now, there's about 1,500.
Wow.
Yeah. I feel like we could go up to 10,000. No problem. I just, I got this stat from somewhere. In the United States, 75% of small businesses and 94% of restaurants donate.
It's just finding them and making it a little bit easier.
Absolutely. And you will be surprised. I mean, I've come across companies that surprise. 23andMe donates. The DNA company where you could get your
I know exactly
lineage.
what you're talking about. That's a great auction item. Oh my God, that is just a fun auction item.
And a lot of like flower and plant companies where you will buy flowers and they donate. I'm always so surprised by who I come across that donates. And it's such a cool space to be in, because every company has a product. And I feel like in our fundraising journey, we focus a lot on monetary donations and how to get that like big dollars. But in fact, a lot of companies donate product as well. And you will be so surprised by who you find and what type of product is available to be auctioned off or used at your event.
Yeah, and you can package items together and make a bundled package to increase that value. I believe, what were some of the other, well, why should I try to do that? You give us some of the donors. We talked about Kendra Scott. We talked about 23andMe. What are some of the others that you can highlight for us?
Chipotle is a super donor. Like most people who apply end up getting a donations. They give like $25, $50, $75 gift cards.
Great.
Lots of museums and zoos donate. So I think like the Hollywood Wax Museum in LA.
Wow.
And what else? Airlines. I think recently I saw someone got an Alaska airline approval. Body and like self-care stuff. Lush is a big donor.
Oh my God, I didn't see Lush. Oh, I got to get back into the ShareWay. Okay.
And just go in and play. It's fun and it's exciting because you're going to come across brands that you recognize that you never would have thought that they donate.
Yeah. Now there's a dashboard involved too, right? Can you talk to us about that?
So the dashboard is still work in progress. It's coming, but we do have a tracking tool where for every donor you like, you could save it to your event.
About. Yes.
Yeah, you can save it to your event. And then now instead of copy and pasting all the donors into your own spreadsheet, you could track it within the ShareWay and not have to like copy paste like 100 times.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to, but I'm glad I asked the question the wrong way. So you're working on a dashboard. That's super cool.
Yeah. So then now you can see like on average, each event you are able to secure X dollars, what type of donors they tend to be, when do they tend to say yes? Like maybe if you apply for 4 weeks versus 2 weeks out, you get a higher approval rate and whatnot, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you have reviews too, right? There's some reviews that you can kind of check out to just see how that experience is. You've pulled some of that data in as well, correct?
Yes. So we have two types of reviews. One is we have response and approval rates on a subsection of our donors list. So if we have enough sample size, we start to show response and approval rates. So now you could prioritize. I'm going to apply to ones that have high response rates and high approval rates so that I'm not wasting my time. The second type of reviews is users will write about their experience applying to this donor. So there's some donors where they have automated rejection email set up, right? So some people will tell us like, once I apply, I got an auto rejection within a minute, So you could, and companies have different type of settings, right, to help them manage the load. So like, okay, now maybe that's not a good one to approach when you're short on time. So we have these two different types of reviews. Our users love to help each other out, and they're constantly contributing, writing reviews and contributing data to us because I think they all understand how painful it is. And the only way to make it less painful is to report issues to us that we can then broadcast out to everyone else,
Yeah. Well, what I love about this, I think that the ShareWay, just the intelligence alone is worth it. Because if I didn't have the ShareWay and I was barking up, the wrong tree, how great is it to say, okay, I want to go to this restaurant. Oh, let me check the ShareWay. Oh, good reviews. Yeah, I'll keep going. Oh, not so good reviews. Skip, thank you, next, right? Just the intelligent, just the reviews alone, I believe is worth to be part of the ShareWay family, let alone the fact that you could, search and filter and find those donors that are willing to give based on your mission, your impact, and then you can apply right then and there. What does it link you to their online application, or how does the application process work?
Yeah. So depending, each company has a different method. So if it's an online form, we link you to their page. If it's an email or a phone number, you have to call. We like show you the email and the phone number. So it really depends. But we give you the information to contact them.
This sounds like great if you have like a high school or college student that's looking for service hours. Just get your ShareWay subscription and sit them down and just let them go from one to the next to the next to the next, and accumulate as many items as you can.
And some of our users, what they really love about this is they have a lot of interns and volunteers, but most of them don't have experience soliciting donations. They wouldn't even know where to start.
Sure.
And you get a tool like this, all of a sudden you unlock the 5 hours they have to give you, because they just have to save and contact. You don't have to like train them from scratch. You don't have to give them a list of donors because it's all here.
Wow. It's just amazing. So where do you see the product going? Where are you taking it? I mean, you went from high school student to hacker to, maybe we have something here to, wow, we have something here. What is next? What do you hope the ShareWay looks like next year, 5 years from now?
Absolutely. So our mission is to create a world where simple goods can make a huge impact. So the items people get on our platform, they're sometimes $50 gift cards, $25 like water bottle. But in aggregate, they help you raise money and get the funds you need for your nonprofit. So we believe that simple goods in aggregate can make a huge impact. So most immediately, I want to create the largest database of product donors in the US and internationally. We've gotten interest from the UK, from Canada and Australia. So I love to scale this to different countries so that people all around the world can access this.
So, and you've reduced the barrier to entry, right? It's pretty affordable. It's not breaking the bank, especially the ROI. When you think about the man hours, especially if I added up the man hours of my little story, 4 of us researching all day, getting pizza, got to put that in, and just trying and really, netting very little, no ROI on all of our hours and effort. When you compare all of that to what the ShareWay costs, you've just really made the barrier to entry almost a no-brainer. So we're not talking an expensive proposition. You don't have to share figures and numbers right now, but to our audience that's listening, they should feel encouraged that when they go to the ShareWay and look at the 3 tier levels, that it's not breaking the bank. Is that right?
Absolutely not. And the donation you'll get covers the cost of the subscription. Just to share some stats, on average, our users save over 20 hours per event. So that's like from going to door to door and creating your own list.
Easy.
And they secure on average about $2,000 in value.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Per event. That's per event?
Per event. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Would you say that you're seeing ROI? ROI. Wow. I'm really struggling with ROI in the first 5 items received. Like, what's that breaking point?
Yeah. So on average, response rates is about 40%, and approval rates is about 11% across all of our donors.
Okay.
So what you should expect is, out of 10 applications, you're likely going to get 1 approval. So it is a little bit of a numbers game. You do have to put yourself out there because it is hard to get donations. Donor companies don't have unlimited budget. So out of 10, you might get 1. But the better you pitch yourself, the more exciting your event is. Those are all ways in which you increase your approval rates. The more alignment there is with the donor too,
Sure. Like if they're, if a company their mission is environment, and you happen to be an environmental mission, then, that's probably going to work out pretty much in your favor. So it's just a matter of spending a little time in the database and in the ShareWay application. But I don't think we fully finished answering the question about what's to come. Like, what features do you want to see? I mean, I get your global mission, but what are the exciting features that are, coming either relatively soon or that you're dreaming about?
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to give a shout out. Like 1 or 2 months ago, we launched one of our most exciting feature, which is approval and response rate. So it hasn't been around forever. It's very new, and it's a game changer, time saver. So that is live.
Great.
What else is coming are features to help you save time applying to donations. So instead of you copy and pasting from another doc to the application, imagine now you could just 1 click within our platform and just fill out the form really quickly. So you don't have to do three clicks per field. You just click, fill, submit. We also want to build a mass email feature. So anyone where apply method is email, we generate a mail merge form for you so that you don't have to copy and paste again to submit to each donor. It just makes it easy for you to submit a ton of applications all at once to donors that request by email.
Wow. Oh, this is just so exciting. Do you have any success stories? Is there one particular organization that comes to mind that has shared their success with you? Or, I mean, I know you shared the average, 2,000 per event, but anything that comes to mind that you can share? You don't have to give us names. I just would love to hear what you're hearing. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is a story, especially to inspire and encourage people who just started their nonprofit. It's brand new. So this nonprofit, when they started using the ShareWay, it was their first year in operation. And they support families whose children have gone or are in neonatal care units in the hospital. And in his first year of using the ShareWay, he got a $200,000 donation from Lush.
No, wait. Stop right there. What happened? What? Wait, did I hear that right? You got to say that again.
Yeah. $200,000 from Lush.
How did that happen?
He submitted an application.
No.
Yeah. And I think you just never know, right? Where they might have a lot to give. And I was shocked too when I heard $200,000. I was like, that is so much money.
Yeah.
In value, in product value.
Sure.
So that was their first year in operation.
I'm blown away. I'm really blown away. So what do you think it was? Do you have any insight there? Because curious minds want to know. Do you think it was just Lush was very aligned to what they were doing? Or what do you think was the marriage, the win-win there?
I think there's definitely an alignment. And then sometimes when companies have perishable product, they might all of a sudden have huge inventory that they want to give away before a certain deadline so that their product can still be used. And this happens all the time, especially with packaged goods company, because if you don't sell the item by a certain time, you can't sell them anymore, but they're still good. So you might now donate it to various nonprofits.
Oh, so it was just the being in the right place and right time. So with the TheShareWay helps you do that. It helps you get into the right place at the right time. Good for them. That's fantastic. What else do you want our nonprofits to know? Do you have any more stats for us? I know you love your stats.
These are our tips to help you out.
Oh, good.
So
Great.
another one is we analyze all the donors in our database, and we found that 50% of donors have applications deadlines due 6 weeks or earlier before the event date. So if you want like maximum options, try to start applying 6 weeks or earlier before your event.
Got it. Okay, good. Oh, now we're getting into the tips. So not only are we getting the TheShareWay, but now we're getting the expert tips from the co-founder herself. So what else do you have for us?
And then one more, this is, I was tracking this back in the day when I was soliciting donations. And this, I also work with some nonprofits after high school. So I was doing this essentially. And I tracked my follow-ups, and I found that 45% of the donors I got a donation from said yes after the first and second follow-up.
So that's important. Yeah.
So don't forget to follow up if you didn't hear back. It makes a difference.
It's just it's so hard to do the first round, let alone do a second and third round. We really need the TheShareWay. So, all right.
And it's definitely in our vision to eventually we could build features to make it easier to do the follow-up, right? We remind you to do it. So you don't have to keep track of it yourself.
Oh God, you're just thinking of everything. So who helps with the whole, development and what comes next? Is it a small team that you have? Are you working with your customers or nonprofits, or how are you getting to these new places?
Yeah, so we have a small and mighty team. My co-founder is an engineer. He does, today he's built 98% of the product himself. And we just brought on another engineer. So our team is growing. And we have a team of interns who QA the data for us to make sure all the data is up to date.
And is it mobile friendly, or are you planning to go app based at any point?
We don't have a mobile app, but it is mobile friendly. So if you just log on to theshareway.com on your browser, on your phone, it works perfectly.
Yeah. Gen Zs and Gen Xers, they do everything on their mobile device. I still like my laptop, right? Call me old fashioned, but I like my laptop. But I don't know. My daughter, she just pulls up her phone for anything she wants to do, and she's so comfortable with it. So app might be a cool idea, but here I am. I want to join your development team already. It's just, I'm really so grateful that you put this all together. I do feel that it was meant to be. It's such a wonderful, wonderful tool. We're happy to know you, and we're so happy to broadcast this on Raise Nation Radio to let all of, the fundraisers out there jump in and get started, especially if you have an event that's 2 months out. You're really going to maximize the performance that you can get out of the TheShareWay. Is it an annual subscription, or how does that structure work?
Yeah.
Do you?
So we have a monthly and an annual subscription. So if you have one event a year and you only want to subscribe 3 months out of the year, you can do that. You can do the monthly option. But if you have 2 or 3, then maybe the whole year makes sense.
Okay.
And I guess I love to offer a coupon to all of you who are listening.
We love coupons here at Raise Nation Radio. Please.
Yeah. So I love to offer 15% off of any of our subscriptions. Just use one cause 2023.
Okay, so I have to write this down. We're going to get it into the show notes. So is that lowercase, uppercase, or what? How are we doing that?
All uppercase, and then the numbers 2023.
Okay, the whole year, 2023. Well, to all of our audience that's out there, I will definitely get this into the show notes. So it would be the ShareWay, and then we'll put the code in. Thank you, Hannah. That's very generous of you. So that's for a 15% off to get up and running. You know what? To our audience that's listening right now, like run, just go right to the ShareWay and make sure that you check out this tool. Hannah and her team are kind enough to give you a free view just to get your feet wet and to get warm and cozy. But now you have this 15% off for a 3-month or year subscription. This is just fun stuff. What a cool product. I can't wait to see where you grow to. If developers are hearing this or organizations that want to donate, do they just contact you through the ShareWay, or how can they connect with you? So I have a funny feeling people are going to want to be part of this ShareWay community.
Absolutely. They can contact me if they're interested in joining our team, or they want to donate on our platform, or they have questions about how to use the ShareWay. Feel free to contact me. My email is hannah@theshareway.com. Super easy to remember.
We'll totally get your LinkedIn profile and your contact information and all that good stuff on the show notes. This is really fantastic. What do you want to say to nonprofits out there who are struggling with their auction besides, use the ShareWay? I mean, what can they do to keep their fundraising looking bright and merry, and how can ShareWay help them do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I would say don't give up. Keep on applying. And I want to go back to the story I told earlier about one of our users who just started their nonprofit and got a $200,000 donations from a donor on the ShareWay within their first time using it. So you never know who's going to say yes. Keep on putting yourself out there. Lots of companies donate, like 94% of restaurants. So don't give up and keep on chugging along.
Yeah. Well, you make it easier, right? It's not so hopeless when you're knocking on those doors yourself.
Absolutely. We make that process a lot easier. Yeah.
Thank you for doing that. Really, you have to come back and just give us an update. What's new at the ShareWay, and how things are growing and progressing, and what new features you have. I know our audience is going to want to hear about that. So promise you'll join us again.
Absolutely. I love to come back. This has been awesome.
Yeah, awesome for us too, and awesome for our audience who I'm sure are running to the ShareWay right now. But I think that's all the time we have for today. So fearless fundraisers, thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's Raise Nation topic and your daily dose of fundraising inspiration. Tune in for a new episode release every Thursday at 12:30 p.m. That's Thursdays, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And in the meantime, listen to all the episodes on Raise Nation Radio. Follow the channel that you like best so that you can get the notifications about all our new guests. And if you're a fundraiser and would like to join our show, we'd love to cast a shine on your mission. We know that you're all doing amazing things to build better tomorrows for our communities. We have your stories right here on Raise Nation Radio. And to all of you listening, you won't want to miss a single episode. I would like to thank our sponsor, One Cause, for making this episode possible. One Cause is driving the future of fundraising with easy-to-use software solutions that help nonprofits connect with their donors. Be sure to check it out at onecause.com. Visit the resource tab on the homepage. You'll find a broad catalog of ebooks and blogs, vlogs, videos, and all sorts of content that hopefully you'll find very helpful. A huge shout out and thanks to my guest, Hannah Young from TheShareWay. She's the co-founder and CEO, and she joined us today to share a very new approach to securing auction items. And I truly appreciate her candid conversation and authenticity. Hannah, thank you so much again for being with us today. We're going to bring you back, but in the meantime, any last words of inspiration for our audience?
Any last words? I feel like I've said a bunch throughout this conversation.
Yeah.
I think start early on your solicitation journey, and you would be surprised by how many people will say yes to what you're asking.
I love that. There's hope right there. Well, thank you again so much. And that is a wrap. Until next time, I'm Dawn Lego. This is Raise Nation Radio. You stay fearless out there.